Hello, this is Colin Dixon of N-Screen Media, and I'm here with Alex Terpstra from Civolution at NAB 2013. Alex, you have some very interesting announcements, one about 4K. Tell us about what you're doing with 4K watermarking.
Yes, Colin. We announced today that we have introduced a product for 4K forensic watermarking. So that is aimed at new 4K high-end video delivery services using streaming infrastructure, so OTT services. And we can actually apply forensic watermarks to those services on the fly. So on an individual user level, we can apply watermarks.
Now you're doing this, you say, for OTT. Why not for broadcast and for cable providers?
It's certainly possible. What we figured is that 4K delivery services will most likely start in the OTT space simply because of the limitations of infrastructure in broadcast. You don't have that problem with OTT. So that's why we first gave priority to make this product available for OTT streaming.
So where do you think it's going to get deployed first, and is it already protecting some assets?
The product is just released. We are working with one customer in particular that we cannot announce yet in the United States. So we think it will be first deployed here in the United States. Yeah.
So you also have a new ad sync product that sounds really interesting. Tell us about that.
Indeed. So we are quite active in the so-called ACR space, so providing synchronization solutions for second screen applications, also smart TVs. And besides the ability to let these devices sync themselves automatically to content, we are now delivering also an added value service to that, which is really aimed at monetizing second screen platforms. So the next phase actually in second screen. What we do there is we run ACR technology, in this case it is video fingerprinting technology, in our own infrastructure, our broadcast monitoring infrastructure, so that we can identify advertisements at the moment that they are broadcasted in real time and use that as a trigger feed basically to deliver that to second screen applications, so that second screen applications can publish advertisements that are fully in sync with broadcast ads that are broadcasted at that moment in time.
This is one of the biggest problems, I think, with broadcasters right now. The ads are not really being paid attention to. I've seen research recently that says as many as 40% of the audience has a second screen in their lap. So this is a great opportunity for broadcasters and content providers to really reinforce that message and boost the value of the ad.
I think it's actually twofold. First of all, you see, talking about the effectiveness of broadcast advertising, that's actually going down if you read the research on this. And it is going down because of the multitasking, right? Because of the second screen, whether that's doing your emails or whether that's really an engaging application. So this is one way of addressing that issue. If you can extend the advertisement experience from the broadcast channel all the way down to the second screen, there is a higher chance of capturing the attention of the user. And secondly, it's addressing monetization opportunities of the second screen, right? Second screen has been about user engagement, about viewership, mostly so far, but we're now getting at the stage where second screen platforms need to be monetized. So the advertisement inventory needs to be sold as well, and we think we can realize a higher value, a higher CPM on second screen inventory if those ads are synchronized with broadcast.
And do you have any information on what that sort of uplift we'll get in CPM rates, and how will these new synced ads actually be sold?
I think we're at the very beginning of this, so there isn't a lot of data yet on how this is working out. There have been reports, research on, let's say, potential increase of value, CPM value. I think we're all still looking at this as something that we need to test, and we are actually working with a few companies that are starting to deploy this on small scale, but with the purpose actually on doing research to basically being able to prove to advertisers what is the effectiveness if you do this. I think that's very useful for the industry, that we get through this phase of really proving the added value of synchronized advertisements.
Now, you actually do your content recognition in two ways, right? You have embedded watermarks, audio watermarks, but you also now support automatic content recognition. Could you talk about both those two solutions and where you might deploy one and where the other?
In our terminology, we call it all automatic content recognition. It's just different flavors of it. So we mostly promote the use of audio watermarking for synchronizing second screens. We believe audio watermarking has a few distinct advantages over other technologies that are used in the market. And we're actually selling a lot of it. We're making very good progress because our customers start to recognize really the added value of watermarking. It is an extremely robust technology. It works very, very well in the home environment. It's very robust against other sounds in the living room. And the accuracy is extremely good. It's actually, once you have sync, you have frame accurate synchronization to the TV content. It works in live broadcast, it works for time-shifted content, and we have built a complete portfolio of products for instance, broadcasters to use. So we have live products, we have software tools for offline adding watermarks to offline content. So it's a complete portfolio of solutions. Now, that is really addressing the topic of making second screen synchronize. So that's fine for the typical second screen examples that I think most of us know by now. But if you look at the topics like automated identification of advertisements, we leverage another business that we have, which is our broadcast monitoring business. In that business, we actually monitor more than 2,000 TV stations worldwide in more than 60 countries. So we have a very large footprint of monitoring infrastructure that we have built, that we own, that we run ourselves. And we are upgrading that infrastructure with ACR technology. In this case, it is actually video fingerprinting for this automated identification capability, which is now starting with advertisements because we see the first use cases, the first market demand to automatically identify ads. But basically, for us, it doesn't matter. It can be any video sequence, from a few seconds to up to hours, whatever the use case is. We can identify that in real time. And we actually have also created a team of people that are indexing content. So we create our own database of reference fingerprints with associated metadata that we manage, that we own, because we created ourselves. We are not dependent on any other player in the market.
So the fingerprinting is not frame accurate and the watermarking is frame accurate. Is that really too big of an impediment for live, for example? How quickly can you get sync with a live stream with the fingerprinting technique?
Actually, our fingerprinting is frame accurate as well. So we come from a world where accuracy and robustness is extremely important. So all our products have that capability. I think what's really important is the aspects of what is the time to sync. So the first time to sync is a parameter, and the robustness. So does it work all the time, or are there certain circumstances that it doesn't work? Now, if you look at Civolution as a company, we have deployed these content identification technologies in many different use cases already over many, many years. So we come with a tremendous amount of experience on how to build very accurate, robust, and fast solutions based on content identification. So in the applications that we talk about here, it's all just a few seconds that you need for first-time sync. And we believe that we have technology that is extremely robust and works very, very well compared to some other vendors in the space.
Now, last time I spoke with you, you showed me some very, very cool demos on your booth. What are you demoing at NAB?
We created a very nice demonstration around this automated ad identification. That's interesting to look at. We have a big ad wall, a dynamic ad wall at our booth, where you see about 50 broadcast channels. This is just a sample of what we have. And you see on all those broadcast channels automatically in real time, it's a live demo, at each and every ad that is being broadcasted. You see them being popped up and identified and then going away again. So that's one of the demos that we have. And other than that, we're demoing almost every product that we have in our portfolio. So it's a lot to see, actually, and we should come by our booth and have a look at it.
Now, this can also be applied not just to advertisements, but it can be applied to interactive content. There's a lot of talk about experience, how the experience of television is being changed by a lot of these technologies. Talk to us a little bit about some of the things that you're seeing with the actual content, not just with the ads.
Now, we're all familiar, I think, with the typical red button type interactive applications. We're actually showing on our booth a similar red button type application, but in our case it is using ACR technology. It is not dependent on any signaling data stream that has its own challenges to keep that synchronized to the content. It can get lost if you do transcoding, all those kind of things. If you do it with HDR technology, you don't have those problems. Once, wherever the content is, you can run that's interactivity. So basically everything that we know from red button applications, we can also enable through HDR technology, and we are demonstrating that. We're also having discussions with content producers. If you talk about, for instance, if you look at advertisement, I think we see changing behavior as well from the standard 30-second spots on broadcast to much deeper integration of advertisers or sponsors in television formats. And especially with pre-recorded shows, it is actually very well possible to index that content in our system and to make sure that we know on each and every moment in that show if a particular brand is being promoted. We can actually trigger that on second screen experiences as well. So at the precise moment that a certain brand is doing a promotion in a show, we can pop up an ad or some form of interactivity around that promotion on the second screen.
I was talking with Jesse Redness of USA last week, and one of the things that really surprised me is exactly what you were just saying. It seems like content providers are now taking an almost 360-degree look at how they can include advertising and promotion in the shows, and they're actually building the shows with that in. This creates tremendous opportunity for second screening, right?
Absolutely, and for advertisers, because for brands, if you consider the difference in how the consumer is experiencing the message from a 30-second spot to something that is really integrated in the show format. If it can even add value to the show. And I think that is driving a lot more efficiency in advertising. Of course, there are complexities, and we're also at the start, I think, on how to see this being deployed in a very efficient way. But we believe that our technology adds tremendous value, as you mentioned, to really make the second screen fully synchronized to that integrated advertisement experience in the show. Yep.
So, just to sum up here at the end, tell us what's for the future for Civolution. What great things are we going to see out of you in the coming months?
We're very keen to further expand our company in the direction of adding value to the consumer. We started as a pure B2B on the more content protection side of the business, and more of our investments are in technologies that enable better consumer experiences. And sometimes that's in the area of advertising, sometimes that's in better synchronized consumer experiences. I have one example that is a very interesting one that we just released actually in Europe, in the Netherlands. We brought the first movie to the cinema with second screen in the cinema, never done before. Using our audio watermarking technology, there the second screen is slightly different from what we see in broadcast, which is a lot about interactive engagement with content. It's actually a second screen experience that allows you to create kind of a second storyline to the movie. You will see things on your second screen that the characters in the movie haven't seen yet, doesn't know yet. You see, for instance, people chatting on their phones in the movie, but you actually get the messages delivered on your second screen, perfectly synchronized in the movie, in the cinema. So it is a very interesting experience there. So we're getting closer to the consumer.
That sounds really exciting. I'm constantly berated to turn your devices off when you're in the theater. But it looks like we're heading towards a world where we can actually keep them on and actually play with them.
It's actually the similar thought as second screen for broadcast. People have their phones with them anyway, and especially if you target young demographics, and this movie is 15-25 age range, you can try to make them shut down their phones, or you can turn it around. Deliver an experience so that if they use their phone, they're using it for the experience that you deliver. And that's what we've done there.
Very good. Alex, thank you very much, and hope you have a great show.
Thank you, Colin. Thanks for having me.
Thanks. This has been Colin Dixon of Endscreen Media.